Well, good morning everyone. Matt here from MV Fishing Oz. Today, I'm giving you a quick little tech tip on how to replace your locking lever latch on your Minn Kota trolling motor. They can crack because over time the plastic wears and tears, and it will cause your electric motor to not be able to release or lock off, and it will stay permanently locked because of the spring mechanism. So I hope you enjoy my little tech tips. Let's get into it. So this little jigger here is what provides you the ability to lock and unlock your motor. My motor, through obviously age or wear and tear, the actual mechanism has cracked. Now, I've already dodgied that up a little bit with a washer that I've fashioned into a retaining clip, because the actual bracket itself has split from through this section here. So effectively what's it doing now is the spring is trying to pull the actual pawl that locks into the motor. It actually is simply just not working. So it's not engaging, and the when I reverse, if I've got the motor locked off, it simply just kicks up and it's a right pain in the ass. So first thing first, get yourself a reasonably comfortable position. My workbench is a bit cluttered. I figured I would do it outside. So grab an old milk crate or some other sturdy box. You need a piece of timber just to lay your motor on top of, and make sure that it's got drill a hole through this, and I'll explain why in a moment why we do this. Other tools you need is a fairly light mallet and a center punch. So with my setup here, I've actually got a bungee cord which helps to keep the actual tilt lock unlatched. So I've now got to remove that. Okay, so once all your cords are released, we now need to remove this little washer that I've retrofitted there. Something that if you haven't had to do a running repair or a fix, you can do this relatively easily if you don't have that washer in place. Now, the part that a lot of people probably aren't really too happy with doing is firstly dislodging. There's a pin that runs through the bracket and then through the little tilt locking lever there. You can see the little hole there that holds the latch in place. So you grab a mallet, grab your center punch, you orientate the pin over the top of the hole through the lump of timber, and you give it a couple of very light taps. Now, that pin has already pushed through. You'll grab your pliers and you'll just very carefully wiggle the pin. It does have a bit of a knurled end on it, which helps to grip the the plastic, and you'll just work that nice and free. There's probably other ways you can do this, and I'm probably choosing the very there we go. The pin is now free, so this locking lever is now loose. Put your pin aside, make sure you don't lose it. Now that your locking lever is now loose and free, you'll find there's an enlarged hole for the head of this pin to rise up through. So you can see just that little head of this plastic section that comes up through. You need to get that aligned with that little hole, and there you go, nice and simple. Spring holds that latch in, so I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. Okay, so now that you've got your your new bracket all reassembled and it's brand new, it's time to put this little locking latch back into place. So you simply set it into that hole. You'll obviously need to make sure your spring is attached. You push up, and then your your locking latch will lock into place. Next step after that is the really challenging, tricky part. This is where you need to make sure that you sit your new bracket in there in the correct position. So probably easier with a couple of hands, but using the weight of the motor itself, you'll position this latch so that it's up quite high, and you'll maneuver the latch into position there. So you saw it's got that slot at the top. You'll put it over the top, put it into position. Now that spring's got quite a fair bit of tension. It's crushing my fingers at the moment. So you release the tension, you spin it around the correct way. All right, so the bracket's now in the correct position. The next step is to relocate your locking pin. So this pin goes through this little hole, through this latch, and then back out the other side there. So once you've got this pin in its in the best position, I'll just move that bit of shock cord out of the road for the moment. Once you've got that pin in place, what you have to do is make sure you've got your alignment correct so that it comes out the other side there. So a couple of gentle taps with the mallet, and we can see there that the pin is now snug and home. So I'll just make sure that it's locked in place. Give it a quick test. Brilliant. You can see that now is lifting as it correctly should be. So before, when this little yoke or locking latch mechanism was fitted, and I had this very ugly snapped bit of plastic, what was happening is under tension, this spring would actually prevent this yoke from being pulled vertically. So it was actually separating the plastic into two pieces and then pulling through that hole. So now the yoke or this locking latch releases as designed. Okay, there you have it. That's the simple and easiest way that I can replace my locking latch lever so I can get back out in the water. Hope you enjoyed the little tech tips and Yak Yard reviews. Thanks for watching. See you next time.